just started learning this, and it's Cornfield Chase from the movie Interstellar. And there's some really epic versions of the whole suite on YouTube. One is by a lady, her last name is Cordova. I'll put a link, like she plays the whole main theme. And then one of my favorite tutorials is by this Croatian guy. So I just started learning the first 2 parts. But there's a lot of crossover work. It's really kind of simple though, but it's also kind of tricky, you know? So, and you know, to learn the whole thing would take a while, and I don't play that often, but this is kind of fun to learn. So I thought I'd show, because I'm learning the Dorian version here. So the Cornfield Chase part is, of course, it sounds like someone's being chased through a cornfield, right? So E, F over and over again, and you're gonna hold your sustain pedal down. And Dorian shows a little trick where you hold the middle one down, and it gives you more reverb. Because like when you play it with just that middle pedal, it's more choppy. But for some reason, when you hold them both down at the same time, middle and sustain, it's like extra echoey. So like, and then if you just were to hold the middle button down, extra choppy. But together, it's there's like an extra reverb. So anyway, E, F, E, F throughout that whole part. And then you're going to be using these chords here. So A minor, I believe that is. And then B minor, I believe. And then G minor. I may be wrong about that being a B minor. Anywho, though, those are the chords. So 3 of those. 3 of those. 1 of those. And do that while you're doing this. And you kind of pick up a rhythm. It just takes a minute to get it, so to hear it and get into the rhythm of it. Really, that's true for any song, I think. So you don't want to get lost, because like if you start trying to play it really carefully, like slowly right at first, you can kind of not quite let it click, not quite hear the rhythm of it. So like, you know, like you're like, what? Wait a minute. So this is going to be consistently, and this is going to be consistently quickly. Okay, so. Bunch of times there, but you can see what I'm saying. So let's try that again. Try to do it more quickly. And eventually you do it without making all those goof ups, but you get the point. Is the beautiful part, of course, with all the glissandoing. Glissando is when you have someone like running down the piano. So we're going to use some of the same chords we used before, but except this is F major 7, I believe. So we're just going to start there. So from the Cornfield Chase earlier part of it. And I believe that's G minor. 2 of those. Of course, it's going to be a lot quicker, and there is some crossover work. So when you're starting your F major 7, you're going to hit the A down here. better and better, right? So we need to play more, and there you go. That's the first little part of it. So we'll just see how this all goes. I'll learn the whole thing someday and put it on the internet. The internet is the motivator, because if you're, willing to put it online to live in infamy forever, it needs to be at least decent, so it motivates me to go ahead and learn stuff and not just leave a bunch of little songs where I'll play a little bit, not play for a month, and then play with them, try to play consistently. So there that is. And I hope y'all enjoyed it, and you can enjoy learning stuff too. And now I think a lot of people who don't read music will also learn. I think it's good if you will read music. It really is good. And if I've been more consistent with it, I'd do better. It takes me a while to run through, example being, where is this thing? Well, here's an example, the Swan, but also I like really old vintage sheet music. So this is Christmas music, Winter Wonderland. It takes me a while. It's not that complicated, but it just takes me a while to, I count up and remember, oh yeah, that's an A or that's a B or whatever. And then I have to also remind myself which ones are flat and sharp. And some people just read it a lot quicker, and that's because they read more often. They read music all the time. But I do think people who are intimidated by that are now, because of YouTube, gonna play music, and they have talent, and so they might learn backwards. They'll start just messing around, and then they'll think, well, I want to learn more, and then they'll learn to read music. This is an example of a song that I'm taking way too long to learn. So let's see if I remember now. So one thing about playing music is it's all those things they have you do when you're a kid, playing scales and stuff, and you just don't want to do it because it's boring and seems stupid. There's really is a point to it. So it's kind of like the Karate Kid movie, when he's wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off, and he's finally look, I don't know why I'm waxing your car all day. I want to do karate, right? So it seems pointless, but later on he realizes the purpose of all that. So same thing here, So this is pretty straightforward, right? It's not that complicated. So your bass, you're doing this. That's not too complicated. That's your intro. Then you go into the second part. Not too hard, right? Sort of simple, and it's not that big of a deal, but it really can make a difference in how you play. And you'll notice on sheet music they'll tell you which fingers to use, and it's just tedious, to go in there and be oh yeah, I need to be putting my fourth finger over here, and then you relearn how to feel it that way so that you can play it better. So if you already kind of know how to sight read quickly, play scales and stuff, you're gonna do better with music. So if you're trying to learn music from written music. So yeah, So let's try to play that together. See, this is where I get all goofy. Oh, let me start at the beginning. Doing it with the right fingering, and then I'm getting kind of out of sync and fumbly, so that kind of thing. So these are the things I'm working on, trying to fill in the gaps from just kind of, if you do well at something or you have a little bit of talent at something, but then you don't put the effort into it to once it hits that difficult point. It's kind of like learning a language too. Everybody can learn basic Spanish, basic German, basic French, stuff like that. But when you get into like conjugating verbs, that's where even people who are doing really well and they're enjoying it, then they're like, whoa, what? Why are there so many different tenses of the verb, and from the past tense and present, or something that might happen in the future or has happened in the past but will never happen again? Like Spanish has so many different rules, like it makes people just finally give up, you know. So, and this isn't that complicated, but it's kind of the same principle, you know. It's like once something hits that hard point, it's like, this was supposed to be fun, you know. So it is fun, but like there's that learning curve, and then it's fun again. I think once you push past that point, I think it would be like really cool to be quickly reading stuff and quickly fingering it right. And but once you plug away at one of these and get it, then it's like it is fun to play it. Just kind of a little bit of a like point. So anyway, I think most of y'all know what I mean. So yeah, just it's cool that YouTube is getting people into like the mimicry type of playing, Suzuki method or whatever that's called, where Suzuki Yamaha method maybe. I'm so stupid. Okay. Anyways, the Suzuki method, where people, you know, watch what someone does and mimic it, and you know, it's a great way for initial learning, and when people kind of see if they have a feel for something and like it, and then a lot of people will probably go learn how to read music, or they may never do that and still be amazing. Like, you know, a lot of people, it's weird, you know, like Desi Arnaz, for example, band leader, never learned to read music. A lot of other really amazing people never learned to read music, and they were writing songs and stuff. So yeah, you can do whatever you want.